happened about the time of the plot against Kennedy in Chicago 2.5 weeks before Dallas, which is just now coming out with documents which I have talked about and written about 25 years ago. Kennedy ordered, for his own reasons, the assassination of the Diem brothers.
Sherman, I have to interrupt you on that. That's complete nonsense, and I apologize for being that abrupt about it. But I've got.
Allowed it to happen.
I can tell you from Colonel Prouty's experience, directly involved in that situation, what actually occurred. JFK had provided an aircraft at the airport for the Diem brothers to escape the country. The coup was to take place once they were outside of the country. There's no question about it.
Well, all right, there's an explanation from your standpoint. Then they killed.
Well, no, this is from Colonel Prouty's standpoint.
Okay.
He was there.
Then put it the other way. They killed President Kennedy because of his involvement for or against the assassination of the Diem brothers, however you put it.
It's not to say that you're not right in the sense that he may have been blamed.
All right, put it that way. The point is, from a chronological standpoint, it fits in. It happened.
I understand what you're saying.
When you look at the international timeline.
In other words, theoretically, he should have had the power, theoretically, to control his own intelligence community, right. To be able to say to them, listen, that we're not going to do it that way. You know, for him to have.
To put it the other way, that President Kennedy failed to stop it. He may not have plotted it himself. He failed to stop it.
I'll accept that. Thanks.
All right, but that is on or about November 1st, 63.
Correct. Yep.
And that's approximately
21 days.
Well, it's about the time of the plot against Kennedy in Chicago.
Yeah.
The plot against Kennedy in Chicago fits in with the plot against the Diem brothers in Saigon. That's what I
see what you're saying.
Okay? And whether Kennedy plotted against the Diem brothers or failed to stop the plot, however you look at it, he was blamed for it from a Catholic Church standpoint, that he failed to stop it.
That's very, very, very possible.
He, a Catholic monarch in America, failed to stop the assassination of two devout Catholics that were running the South Vietnam government in Saigon. Whether he plotted against them or plotted to stop them from being assassinated, whatever it is, it happened. And while he was in charge and he failed to stop it, either plotted, as some contend, or failed to stop the plot.
Well, in fact, in the Watergate break-in, that was one of the things that E. Howard Hunt's job was to do, was to try to implicate JFK in the order.
Well, you know what your problem is? You keep opening doors.
Yeah. Part of it is I do have a lot of the tape record.
You're opening doors of things you know a lot about. Remember, I'm the one that was deeply involved in the opening up the cover-up of the Watergate plane crash where Mrs. E. Howard Hunt died.
That's right.
The Hunts were reportedly blackmailing Nixon on his involvement in the assassination of President Kennedy.
Yeah, that Bay of Pigs thing.
And if you want to go into that, by midnight we'll still be talking about this. So, I mean, in the 70s, I traveled around the country talking about those things, and especially put together a truck for the use of somebody in a wheelchair, okay? And there were times I started to give a 2-hour speech. And since I know my subject without notes, I gave a speech in Cambridge, Massachusetts at MIT the night before the final exam. The speech went on unbroken for 5 hours. Why? People stood up at the microphone, explain this, Skolnick, and explain that. And I call it opening doors. And I know what's behind the doors, and so the minute they bring up the Watergate plane crash, when I was talking on another subject, I would immediately go into a long discussion of all the technical ins and outs, and dates and details. I can do that, but would you say that it's fair in a way here, Sherman, to say that many of these different things anyway, are very much interweaved together? Yeah, you'd have to read all of my 60 stories and see that I do deal with it. And it would make a giant book if all the stories were simply reprinted. But your friend there wants to open up that door, and we'd go off the air still talking about the Watergate plane crash.
Yeah, it's one thing. You're not short-winded, huh?
Let's put it this way. Nixon wanted to wipe out Mrs. E. Howard Hunt to scare her husband and to kill her because they were blackmailing the Nixon White House about Nixon's involvement in the murder of President Kennedy. You got to understand the detail. Nixon claimed in certain magazine stories that he left Dallas that morning.
Oh, yeah.
It was a fraudulent statement.
Yes.
Why do I say that?
We have a picture of him in Dallas, for one.
WFAA radio had me on the radio, okay, with a former director of PepsiCo bottlers, who confirmed that Nixon was there on the assassination day as the general counsel of the pop bottlers, and was attempting to conduct business that afternoon when nobody could possibly concentrate on business because of the assassination. Now, here was a director that was there, who was on the radio with me. Oh, I could put in another detail, but I'll scare everybody at your end.
Well, you know, I don't...
The moderator that was on the air with me was later murdered, but all right.
Who was the moderator?
Of that radio show.
I know. What was the person's name?
I think his name was Sparling or something. I don't remember.
I know Len probably has a better memory for this.
Wait a minute, but you're missing the point. The point is that Nixon was involved. The Hunts, E. Howard Hunt and his wife, knew about it, was blackmailing Nixon. Mrs. Hunt had $2 million in securities on that plane. I know all about it. I got all the documents. I confronted the National Transportation Safety Board. I sued them. It's a long story. It would take me an hour just to summarize the details. So you're opening a door behind which there's a lot. So I just told you just a little bit of it so that you see where I'm at. In other words, the Nixon thing and the Watergate thing and the Kennedy assassination thing, they're all a part of related details. Not a conspiracy theory. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But since we are so... well, I've been at this since 1958. As I say, we've got over 1 million documents, tapes, records, court files, and so on. And I and my colleagues are able to go through it and show a common thread. Not a conspiracy theory, but a relevance.